What's up, guys? So tonight is the night of the Oscars, and so I thought I would make my annual Oscar predictions video. Now, first things first, for anyone who saw my reaction to the nominations video, anyone who was giving me shit for not having seen every single film that was nominated and kind of getting a bit upset that those films were nominated, well, let me tell you that I have now watched pretty much everything you need to watch to talk about it. And my feelings are exactly the same. I think Bohemian Rhapsody is an overrated pile of trash, with a good lead performance, which we'll get to. I thought Cold War was a beautifully directed, beautifully shot film, but I personally was not invested in that story, in that relationship. I don't think it's in the top 5 most well-directed films of the year. I think you could easily have given that to Steve McQueen or Ari Aster, or more importantly, Bradley Cooper. And the same with Vice. I think Vice is a fine film. It's very, very well acted. Bale and Adams are very deserving of their nominations, but I don't think Adam McKay deserves Best Director, and I certainly don't think it deserves Best Picture. But again, we'll get to that in a bit. And in the cinematography side, I also think that Cold War, despite being very, very well shot, I don't think it deserves Best Cinematography, especially when compared to something like Buster Scruggs. I have also seen If Beale Street Could Talk, which I loved. Let's get into each of the categories. I'll break down pretty much every category that I know you would probably want me to break down, so not live action short or whatever. And I'm going to tell you who I think should win, who I personally want to win, who I think deserves it, and who I think will win, which is basically what everyone does. So first off, let's start with visual effects, which, I mean, I've got the nominations here on my laptop, which is why my face is so unusually white. We've got visual effects here. I want Infinity War to win. I think it's either Infinity War or Ready Player One, and I really want Infinity War to win. And I think that Infinity War will win, because quite frankly, the only real competition that it has is probably First Man, because, you know, they want to give First Man something, and they didn't nominate Justin Hurwitz, which is a bit of a crime. But I think Infinity War should win, and I think it will win. I mean, the way that they brought Thanos to life alone, the motion capture for that is outstanding. So I think Infinity War should win. Makeup and hairstyling, it's Vice. Vice should win and will win. Moving on to film editing. I was watching BlacKkKlansman earlier today, and I think that is a really, really well edited film. That and The Favourite, two very, very well edited films. However, I do see them giving it to Vice. I think that The Favourite or BlacKkKlansman should win, but I think that Vice will win. So if I'm going to put my money on it, I think that Vice will get best editing. Moving on to production design. I want Roma to win. I think Roma should win, but I think that The Favourite will end up winning. The reason I think Roma won't win, even though it deserves to win, it's number one, it's already going to win all the bigger awards. However, it's also because it being a black and white film and stuff like that, and it all looks very realistic. I just don't think that it's going to, the production design sticks out as much, even though the job of production design is to kind of service the story and not stick out. Whereas The Favourite, I think, is a much more impressive looking film on the surface level, even though they basically filmed in one location and most of it was already there. They just kind of had to dress the set a little bit and redecorate certain bits here and there. Whereas with Roma, they had to, you know, they had to build sets, they had to recreate certain streets from scratch. Which is why I think Roma should win, but I think The Favourite will win. Moving on to cinematography. Yeah, it's Roma. Roma will and should and will win. Original song, Shallow, should and will win. Original score, interesting. I think If Beale Street Could Talk should win. I think that Nicholas Britell's score for that film was outstanding. Not quite Justin Hurwitz for First Man, in my opinion, but it was very, very good. However, going back to that democratic thing, I think it will go to Ludwig Göransson for Black Panther. I think Black Panther will win. It's a great score. It's one of Marvel's strongest scores for sure. He genuinely did the work. He went to Africa, did the research and all the rest of it, and they really kind of marketed that part of the film for sure, like online and stuff. So I think that Black Panther will win, and it's well deserved. It's a good score. Moving on to animated feature, Into the Spider-Verse should and will win. I'm about to start watching the film just after I finish this to kind of build my hype for the Oscars. And yeah, I think Into the Spider-Verse definitely should and will win. Foreign language film. Now this is a very interesting category because a lot of people are saying that Roma is going to win. However, I feel that if Roma wins Best Picture, they have to be democratic about it. And it's going to be slightly weird for Alfonso Cuarón to come up and accept foreign film and Best Picture if Roma does win Best Picture. You know, like, what is he going to say in the foreign film one that he should or shouldn't say in the, you know, in the Best Picture one? Which is why I think that there is a chance that something like Cold War or Shoplifters could win. it's a very strange category, and this is the one that I'm least confident about talking about because I really don't know how it's going to work. Because on the surface level, of course, Roma's going to win, but it's already going to win so much. It's probably going to win Best Picture, and it's just going to be awkward for it to win Best Picture and foreign film. So right now, I might just put my money on Shoplifters or Cold War. I don't know. I'm really unsure about this category, so let's move on. Original screenplay. First Reform should win. But as for who's actually going to win, it's definitely between The Favourite and Vice. I really don't know who I would put my money on. I would probably say Vice. I would probably say Vice is going to win Best Original Screenplay, even though First Reform should. And I think The Favourite is also a more well-written film than Vice. But this is one of the few times where I genuinely want to be proven wrong. And especially when we get into the acting categories, the Best Picture category and stuff like that, I really want to be proven wrong. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to Adapted Screenplay. I'm looking at it now, and I think Black Klansman is going to win. I think Black Klansman is going to win, even though I think who should win is probably Buster Scruggs or If Beale Street Could Talk. The argument scene in If Beale Street Could Talk is some of the best writing of the year. Some of the best acting of the year as well, but we'll get to that in a bit. But I think that, again, being that they have to be democratic, I think Black Klansman will take the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. So let's move on to the supporting actors. First, we've got supporting actress. This is Regina King's for the win. I think that she will win. She gave a truly amazing performance. Barry Jenkins is a truly great director of actors, and I think Regina King is definitely going to win. If there's anyone who's going to kind of come out from underneath, it would be Rachel Weisz, because she won the BAFTA. I would like to say who should win is Amy Adams. I want Amy Adams to win because, you know, she's kind of like the new DiCaprio or the new Deakins. You know, she's been nominated so many times, and she truly deserves it. She's one of the best actresses working today, the best actresses, you know, maybe of all time. And I think that Amy Adams' performance in Vice was truly amazing. Is it her best performance? Probably not. One of my favourite actresses. She really does deserve it, you know. But I think Regina King will win. She was outstanding in that film. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor. Yeah, Mahershala Ali is going to win. He deserves it. I mean, I get, does he? Because there was one outstanding scene in Green Book, which is like the one in the rain where he's, you know, crying and stuff. That's amazing. But he's already proven himself. He already has an Oscar, and it's very, very rare. I think there are only about 40 individuals in the history of the world that have more than one Oscar. And I feel like Mahershala Ali to kind of get 2 Oscars in the space of 3 years, it's just, I don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't. He's won all the rest of the awards. But I really don't know. I think he will win. If I had to put my money, I will put my money on Mahershala Ali. But who I want to win is Richard E. Grant. He was so good in Can You Ever Forgive Me? And he deserves it. He has been in the industry for so long, and he has constantly been kind of shut out from these awards, and I think he deserves it. I really hope that I get proven wrong and that Richard E. Grant wins tonight. I think his speech will be awesome. It will be, you know, I think I want him to win. Best Actress, Glenn Close. I want Glenn Close to win. I think she should win, and I think she will win. I think that Glenn Close gave the 2nd or 3rd best female performance of the year. Toni Collette's number 1. Then maybe Glenn Close over Viola Davis. But Glenn Close was truly masterful in The Wife. If you haven't seen that film, it is actually a really, really good film on top of that performance. And Jonathan Pryce as well is amazing. But I want Glenn Close to win. Let's move on. Best Actor. Now, this is the most heartbreaking category for me. Because, yeah, Rami Malek will win. I think he will win. I think there's a 90% chance that he will win. And if he doesn't, it's probably going to go to Christian Bale. And that breaks my heart. But let me just clarify some things. I really liked Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, but his performance is literally a watered down version of Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born. Bradley Cooper deserves to win. He wrote, produced, directed, starred in 2018's A Star Is Born is Bradley Cooper, and he deserves it. He truly deserves this Oscar. It's one of his best performances, if not his best. And I really wished it would go to Bradley Cooper. Again, I hope I get proven wrong. But no, yeah, it will go to Rami Malek, and if not, Christian Bale. But Christian Bale's my favourite actor, by the way. Patrick Bateman, his performance as an American Psycho is my favourite movie performance of all time. So, you know, but he already has an Oscar. And I want them to give it to someone who deserves it, someone who doesn't have one yet. And I think Bradley Cooper truly deserves it, but I will have to put my money on Rami Malek. Let's move on to Best Director. Now, really, everyone says Alfonso Cuarón will win, and I do agree. I think that Alfonso Cuarón has a, as I say, 75% chance of winning. And the reason I say 75 is because Spike Lee. I think that Spike Lee does have a chance of winning. He's definitely the one that could come from underneath. And the reason I say that is because this is Spike Lee's first ever Oscar nomination, and he's been in the industry. He's been making great films for so long, and I feel like this is probably Spike Lee's last chance to win an Oscar. I don't really see him coming back. And also to add to that, Alfonso Cuarón has 2 Oscars, right? And again, I said it's rare to give someone who already has one another one. However, I guess Cuarón is part of that crew, you know, with Iñárritu and Lubezki. Iñárritu won 2 years in a row, and Lubezki won 3 years in a row. So Cuarón could do it, and I think he should. I think Cuarón should win, and hopefully he will win. Black Panther is a great film, and Roma is a masterpiece. Finally, Best Picture. I want Roma to win. I'm backing Roma. I think Roma should win, and hopefully it will win. So let's talk about some of the other films that could kind of go against Roma. I think there are really 3 films that could challenge Roma. Black Panther, but that's probably not going to happen. And then there's Green Book and Black Klansman. These 2 might win Best Picture. I think Green Book is an alright film. It's competently directed. The performance is great, but it's a very generic story. It's a very generic message that we've seen 100 times before. And Black Klansman is a slightly more unconventional approach to the same story. And I think I like Black Klansman a bit more than Green Book, and I think Black Klansman probably deserves it more than Green Book. But being that Green Book is a crowd pleaser, and, you know, it's a film that everyone loves, it's a film that kind of plays it safe, it's a very sensible film, it's not trying to upset anyone. It could come out on top. I think if Green Book wins, it'll be another spotlight situation where, you know, clearly The Revenant and Mad Max deserve it a lot more. But what gets me really excited though is that usually when we talk about Best Picture, it's kind of 2 films, right? It's kind of No Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood, Moonlight or La La Land, Birdman or Boyhood, 3 Billboards or Shape of Water. Whereas with this year, it's like we don't really know. We don't, there's pros and cons to every film. Which gets me really excited. And a lot of the categories as well gets me really excited because usually, it's pretty easy to predict, like Gary Oldman or Allison Janney or Sam Rockwell, But I think this year is going to be an interesting year for the Oscars. So just to conclude my predictions video, hopefully nothing goes wrong this tonight. Actually, you know what? I will say, hopefully something does go wrong to these idiots because they have been making so many dumbass decisions recently. And I remember I was watching someone's video on the Oscars, and they said that it would be perfect if they read the wrong name this year, not 2 years ago. If the whole Moonlight and La La Land thing had happened this year, it would have been a perfect bookend to probably the worst year in Oscars history, because these idiots have been making so many stupid decisions. And I hope something happens that brings it down even worse for them, because quite frankly, these idiots deserve it. They have no appreciation for films. They have no appreciation for the people who watch them. All they care about is ratings and time limits, like runtime and political correctness. Like I said this in my nominations video, but remember back when the Oscars was actually about acknowledging great films. Well, I feel like that's not really the case anymore. However, if Roma does win, if Richard E. Grant gets it, if Bradley Cooper gets it, then my faith will be a little bit restored, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. Oh, by the way, last thing, hopefully we get an Avengers trailer or a Game of Thrones trailer for tonight, because it's True Detective season finale tonight, season 3. So hopefully they release something, because quite frankly, I'm really irritated that they haven't released a Game of Thrones trailer yet. But maybe, because, it's rumored that the Avengers are coming on to the Oscars. So hopefully we get a trailer. And I think Emilia Clarke and Jason Momoa are presenting tonight. So maybe they release a Game of Thrones trailer. So hopefully. Anyway, guys, thank you very, very much for watching. See you tomorrow. Thank you.